Welcome back to Emporia, Kansas. It's the 2024 PDGA Masters Disc Golf World Championships. We're at Swope Park for back nine coverage of round number 3 in the FP40 division. It's a very hot and blustery day here in this part of Kansas. Grant Zellner and Jennifer Allen, we're going to get through this together. You're having a little bit of PTSD, remembering just how the conditions were. Very, very difficult, and you all are beginning to feel it at this point in the round.
Yeah, and this is the part of the course that for some reason is the absolute hottest. We're getting over, I think those rocks, this is where they store all their rocks. So pretty hot over here, but this is hole 10. The road right there is just a river. You can land short of it, but you must get around this mando tree, 354 feet, and that's a par 3. This one's a difficult one to approach. I think a 2 is only coming from a throw-in. Pretty hard one to reach.
And to help our viewers get orientated, which way, well, I was going to say which way are the winds blowing, but we have a flag letting us know. We've got something of a right to left here.
Yeah, been a very strong right to left all day. We do get a little break here and there when we get close to this tree line. So trying to just hit this gap. This is the lowest and tightest I've ever went to that mando, which is a great way to get to the basket. But I was not trying to do that. This is more of the safe line to attack the basket. Put you out there in the open. Like I said, all of us are playing this for a 3. And Sandi, being a lefty, this is a very difficult shot, and she sticks another one. Another one.
For the second time in 2 holes, Sandi leaves one for the birds.
So 2-meter rule, not in effect. Coming in here with the approach. Really hard to keep it turning, going with that downhill slope. It's going to suck it down towards the right. See the winds picking back up. Holds Stephanie's up a little longer than she wanted to in the air. And Ohn's just laying that one up. We're in Flint country, if you don't know. So you're going to see the big flint rock everywhere, especially at this course.
They even use it for fence posts
in
this part of the country, which is unusual.
Huge par save for Sandi. This Canadian's getting pretty toasty. And she did toss up and try to get her disc out a few times, so a little extra energy and arm use there. Great par save for Stephanie as well, standing out there in the sun. Getting a little red face as well.
When we roll on to the 11th, a 329-foot hole to the highest point in the state of Kansas.
Yep, we're going up the pyramid here. I mean, I guess the good thing is we got a wind read at the top of this one.
You sure do. There it is.
And today is Flag Day, so happy Flag Day, everyone.
At this point, are you thankful for the wind? Is it doing anything for you in terms of the heat, or is it just making things more miserable?
If we did not have this wind, I don't know if any of us at this point would be standing.
Okay.
So plays great for the forehand around every baseball field. So Ohn keeping it low, staying out of the wind. Just going to approach it from there. She did make that huge putt on day 1, though. Going to use the wind and work my T-bird over there.
Nice, off the base. It's a little bit larger base on this particular hole than the others.
Stephanie let that go a little bit early, so it flew the way she wanted to, but just kind of the wrong direction. But she found shade.
Hey.
At this point, she wins.
We'll take what we can get at this point.
Sandi's like, ooh, that shade looks good. I'll try to go towards you. But unfortunately, she's out there in the sun. And this is one of those things, if you have to decide if you're going to go at that basket or not. And possibly from that far out, the smarter thing to do is not get it up in the air as much. Do something Stephanie did, keep the disc flatter so the wind doesn't get underneath it. And you just try to, it's kind of like, this hole reminds me of putt-putt golf. And you try to play into the little things on the course, you know, not the actual hole.
It somehow made you look shorter.
Shocker. I know. God, like, is this tall? Like, look how tall, like, this is tall. So again, she's putting into a headwind. No, thank you. You're going to expose the entire bottom of the disc, which Ohn did and ended up on the other side. Okay. But now she's got a tailwind putt. So Owen's like, pfft, chump change.
And then you have to climb all the way up there and get it.
Yeah, and again, at this point, we're very hot. Here we have our incredible PDGA Marshall, just making sure, because all of our discs are now underneath the basket in the rocks. There's holes. And so you can, like, plinko down. Now we've turned into, you know, the plinko game.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just verifying all of our lies are good. Stephanie's is directly under the basket, so she's taking it on top of the rock. Now the challenge is trying to get your disc back.
Right.
Visit quirkygoodies.com today. We have over 100 fun, unique disc golf tees along with hats, stickers, metal wall art, and much more. Use code PDGA20 for 20% off.
Here we are at the 12th, listed at 305 feet. OB down the left side, wrapping around the outfield one more time.
Yep, and the baseball field fence there, OB as well. So again, left to right wind. So this one kind of helps if we're doing that right-hand backhand or the forehand shot. The OB line there behind the basket definitely comes into play pretty quickly. But the grass is thick, so you got to get it in the air. This is, you know, the grass actually comes into play as part of the challenge as well. Good shot for Ohn. So we got a little commotion there on the right side. Unfortunately, the heat has gotten to our Canadian.
Sandi Hendel dealing with a little bit of heat exhaustion over there. Lots of people ready to respond.
So back to action. Laying up over there. We're still, now we've got her in the air conditioner though, so. Beautiful drive by Stephanie.
And to be clear, now that we've approached the green, Sandi went ahead and DNF'd after that moment. Have you had a chance to check up with her yesterday evening?
Yes, we actually went to the pool afterwards and got her in some cold water. Spent another hour or so there. This park does have a pool, so lots of water, lots of Pedialyte. Gave her some of my Zip Fizz with tons of vitamins. Went to dinner. And she is doing better. She is still really not feeling great. I mean, it got her bad. Like, close to probably too far. She was very afraid to let us know. She said it was probably hitting her actually all the way on hole 5.
Right.
And she did not want anyone to know. She has never in her entire career dropped out of any event, and she came from Canada. Like, she didn't, this is not the result she wanted. So here we are moving to hole 13. This is 300 feet, par 3, between the ball fields. Again, hottest area on the course. So we're all dealing with that. Now, all of us ourselves are, you know, really very hot because we stood on the rocks for another probably 15 minutes or more. Sure. Trying to give her the time. We did try to give her as much time as possible to make that decision. But she, in the end, made the right decision. This would have been very difficult for her to continue and put her health at a really high risk. Ohn getting a great drive out there.
At this point, you mentioned in the end of the front nine how Whether you meant for it to or not, your pace of play probably increased. Is that continuing here? Whoa!
I tried for Sandi. I really did.
That was incredible.
This one's for Sandi.
But are you all playing pretty fast at this point?
No.
No, you've now slowed down.
I mean, there's no one in our way, but we are not hustling.
Okay.
We were probably walking the slowest this card has ever walked. And stopping to drink water and stopping to find shade in between. We're moving really slow. I don't really look at the clock. Again, you can tell we're hot and tired. Have you ever seen?
Sure.
This is something you do not see of Ohn. Again, it is windy. You can hear the wind. But we're like, go ahead. It doesn't matter who's putting in the order. We don't really care as long as all of us are okay. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, yeah, I didn't even see Ohn. Like,
left her hanging there.
Didn't even see her. I think I went over there to talk to. I saw Des Redding, who another player who had to DNF on round 1 at this course because of the heat. So told her if it would be great, she could go over and kind of explain some of the symptoms of heat exhaustion to her, and she happened to have some Pedialyte as well to provide. So Des to the rescue, hole number 14.
275 feet. We stay out in the open for one more hole here.
Yeah, peninsula, kind of island hole, OB all around. Probably comes in about circle's edge on the backside. Slope and wind going to pull you towards that OB on the left. We're at these are all temporary holes because of flooding, so we're back tucked underneath these branches. So,
I don't know.
branch taken a little bit off, that would have been hopefully a drop in. Stephanie parked this, I feel like the last time too. Like, this is just a distance that is her mid-range shot. You know what I mean? It's a full power, just nice throw, and it's the perfect distance for her. Ohn burned this into the ground the first time, unfortunately does it again. So she's done this upshot before.
She has indeed.
And she does it again. So she's got that dialed down. Trying to keep it basket rim high. Huge crosswind there. Last thing I wanted that to do is lift and go OB down the hill. Awesome birdie from Steph. And Ohn is still in the shade. There she is. There she is.
The mark of a veteran.
Running to the shade.
In a backyard kingdom, not so different from your own. A prince of southern royalty was born of the plastic stone.
Here we are at the 15th, listed at 412 feet, a couple of fairways to choose from here.
Yeah, you can choose the left side, which is a little more open but hard placement shot right here off the tee. It's kind of your landing zone, but then you have a 200-foot approach in towards the basket, which is more exposed to this side. If you take the other side, there's an OB fence that's very tight, I would say 50 feet across maybe, that you have a land to land on, but then very guarded by the cedars on that side coming up. So Stephanie likes to go on the right side. She found herself OB the first round. This time brings it in tighter underneath the shade tree.
Perfect. Right through the gate.
Stabled up because of the huge wind, and it was trying to hyzer out. This is fine. I'm actually in a mandatory hazard area in the ditch. So it's not OB, but I would have liked that to finish its flight. Ohn sneaks around there.
Over to Stephanie now, trying to play further up the right side and knife her way back into the left.
Yeah, so super hard shot. She's going to try to play the skip and actually gets a little bit. This is a little more dry area. So gets that skip play. Blind shot. She parks this approach the first day. Today goes a little long. Nothing really back there. That's a very thick cedar.
Here you are after taking mandatory relief.
So I'm directly
no
behind.
penalty.
Trying to use the wind to bring that in. Goes a little bit long as well, but at least makes it through on an that's the gap to go on the right side to approach. So able to land there in the gap and save the par, which feels like a birdie. This plays as a par 4 for us for sure. Needing just a hair more turn and a little lower. Can't even see Ohn. She did putt back there. It made it out to the open, so she's just going to have to kind of tap that in.
Little bogey there for Stephanie.
We're hot. A hot one out here.
And we move on to the 16th. This one is listed as a par 4. It's listed also at 470 feet.
That's going to be a little bit too long, I believe. But main thing, getting a nice long drive that's going to finish out to the right or even just straight. But do not hyzer off into the creek there on the left. That is OB the entire way. So we should have a little bit of a tail left to right wind at this point. So wind gets underneath my disc, pushes it a little bit more to the right, but I'm almost by the shade.
Yeah, close enough. Stephanie Vincent going a little lower, needs this to get down.
Yeah, and thankful for the thick grass at this point. We've been kind of yelling at it, wanting some skips. This was a thankful thick grass. Ohn getting some great distance, but again, you can see right when the wind hits that disc. And Ohn didn't know if that was going to be in an OB area or not. That is totally safe. There's actually a basket over there for another placement. Stephanie getting a perfect approach for the tap-in birdies. So this playing as a short par 4, smart thing to do, just laying this up. And we're gonna all just tap in that birdie.
Are you all beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel here, knowing that you're just about done?
Probably so. Or delusional.
I was going to say, I see a few smiles either way.
Yeah, we're definitely exhausted at this point.
The 17th listed at 255. Pretty straightforward little par 3 here.
I think I ranged this at like 220 or so a little bit shorter than 255. The OB coming in very quickly right there in that long grass down the slope. So you can take the hyzer route around the right side of these trees or the little makeshift Mando. Going with a standstill putter. This is the Con. Fun little putter disc.
Perfect little bit of ground play there on the slight down slope.
Getting most of the way around that tree, coming back in. Wind probably didn't allow her to come back as much as that normally would. Ohn gets a little too high catching that branch, gonna drop her straight down. You can see the wind still pretty strong. I'm going to give a big shout out for that putt, but I'm going to also quickly shout out Felix and Conrad with Ace Run Pro for, we're all looking at how hot and sweaty we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are out here standing in the sun more than us with a lot of gear on. So big shout out to them for bringing us this coverage and giving the FP40 division some coverage all week. So shout out to Ace Run Pro, and I'm glad all of us so far have survived this.
Nobody is immune to a course like Northwood Black.
Just throwing laser beams.
That's so good.
Bresnell, the birdie, the fist pump.
Critical shot.
Gotta get up. Bresnell.
That is a shot of a champion.
Your 2024 Champions Cup winner, Andrew Bresnell.
Finally, to the 18th. One last challenge at 268 feet.
I think it ranged at 285. Uphill, we have the rock backstop here at this hole. Pretty difficult to bank it in off that, but other than that, OB comes in the road behind. Not a lot of us going long on this one, so that's something that we really haven't thought about too much. We don't really worry about that road. So with the strong wind, I'm dropping back down to my Cayman again, keeping it a little flatter than I would throw like the Firebird typically. Almost go too long, but it's good. Stephanie playing the wind perfectly. And it just stops right there in the grass.
Darts right into the ground at Circle's Edge.
And disappears. Owen gets a little more of the disc exposed over there to the shade, just at Circle's Edge.
Everybody with a look, though.
And shout out for these long putts and our other FP40 women over there sitting in the shade, waiting for us to all finish, as well as the ice cream and snow cone truck.
Doing some business now.
Yeah. And I will say Sandi as well. So Sandi is over there waiting with our marshal and TD, taking great care of her. So she is out there with us. Finish with a star frame. After a long, hot day, we feel like we all won.
Keeping the focus right to the last to get those putts to drop here at the 18th. And after all of that, the lead is 10 for Ohn Scoggins. Look at that back nine you put together, though. Clean as can be. Here's a look at the overall leaderboard heading into day number 4. We're past the halfway mark here at the 2024 PDGA Masters Disc Golf World Championships. Stay tuned for continuing coverage from the PDGA.